Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to yet another edition of Time Out Over Time on the Time Out Over Time YouTube channel, live and direct from the Frank Beck Chevrolet Studio Annex. I'm Rick Arsenal. As I said, happy Friday, October 3rd into Saturday, October the 4th. Uh, we've got a lot to talk about. We'll waste a whole lot of time. I think I can wrap all this up in about 15 minutes. I don't have many notes. This is going to be mostly ad-libbed from the heart. Uh, so without wasting much time, let's get right to it. I did put the Tigers, as you can see in the headline, uh, because I didn't think they deserved it. I think everybody, I mean everybody, admittedly, when they're frustrated and upset, say things that later on they regret. I'm one of them. Obviously, if you saw the podcast Wednesday, I was very upset because this was hard to watch. And pardon me. I'm not changing my feelings one iota. These were two inferior teams. One team had to win. Okay. Tigers clearly were the better team, but this was the weirdest. The Tigers in the last 3 weeks have played the Guardians 9 times in the last 3 weeks. And I'm seeing a lot of baseball, folks. But those were some of the weirdest, the weirdest 9 games I think I've ever seen. Go back to the series in Detroit a couple of weeks ago now. If it were not for the defensive exploits of their left fielder, Stephen Kwan, I think the Tigers would have taken 2 out of 3 in that series. I think the Tigers are the better team. But baseball is a funny sport, you know. And now I know, I'll say it, now I know what crow tastes like because I predicted they were going to lose. And they didn't. So the bottom line is they're part of the Elite Eight now. Elite Eight. Let's look at this. So in the American League, you've got Detroit and Seattle in the ALDS. The other ALDS is New York at Toronto. They both get underway tomorrow. I think the Tigers Mariners is 8:38 on FS1, and at the same time, I think the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays on the regular Fox network. I think that's a schedule. I hope I'm not misspeaking here. The other 4 teams in the National League, a great rivalry. The Cubs at Milwaukee. What is Milwaukee? What, a 90-minute, if the most, a 2-hour drive from Chicago? That's a great rivalry. And I think I'm looking forward to that series more than any other. And of course, then you've got the Dodgers and Phillies. I'm picking the Phillies to win the whole thing. But anyway, that's your Elite Eight in Major League Baseball this year. In their celebration, in the locker room celebration with the champagne flowing all over the place yesterday, here's what I have a problem with. And maybe we'll bring this up on the show tomorrow morning with Andy and Jed. Here's what I take issue with, or umbrage, if you will, or whatever. While getting doused with champagne, Tiger owner Christopher Ilitch said it is his goal to win a World Series. But the guy with the keys to the car, Chris, he's running your operation. Doesn't look to me like that's his goal. I think he's been publicly stated as saying his goal is to make the playoffs every year. The trade deadline was July 31st, and Scott Harris did not act like a guy in charge who particularly wanted to win a World Series, given the moves he did or did not make. Now, if you want to look back at yesterday for a minute, I think the MVP of this series was Javier Baez for both sides. Well, I think we can all admit, if it weren't for Baez, Tigers didn't win this series. He was the MVP. And the GOAT, on the other hand, I think the GOAT of this series for the Guardians, and it may be hard for them to swallow or admit, was none other than their third baseman, Jose Ramirez, whose careless base running may have cost them a series. Careless, I said careless. There's a difference between careless and cavalier, if you will. Okay, even yesterday in the eighth inning, when Vest dropped that throw from Torkelson, which would have been the flying out and rolled over by the dugout, he had the wherewithal vested to pick it up and make the throw to second base. Initially, Ramirez was ruled safe, and then he went and looked at it, and then Javi had that. Was there anybody better than applying a tag than Javier Baez? Anyway, if you go back and look at that, about halfway between first and second, Ramirez adjusted his helmet. And that slows you down. And then, of course, I don't know if it was a contact play on Tuesday or not, when he took off for home on a ground ball back to Will Vest. Will Vest was sensational in this series. I think if Torque had to do over again, he may have given him a little better throw. I mean, it was right here. I just don't think Vest thought it was going to be that hard. He didn't have the glove open. Javier Baez seems to thrive on the big stage. He does. And someone asked me how many years does he have left on his contract. It's 2. Okay. Now, if you look at the pitching for this series, it's 8:30 tomorrow night and then 8 o'clock on Sunday. I think both games on FS1. Of course, Yankees are on the real major Fox network. Oh, of course, which makes sense, I guess. Pitching, looks like a bullpen game for tomorrow. Maybe they'll start out with Montero. After that, I don't know. Sunday, and of course, it's Derek Skubal. Come back here for games on Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday if necessary. Tuesday, you're looking at Casey Mize. Wednesday, Jack Flaherty. Day off for travel back to Seattle, and if there is a game 5, like we had last year in the ALD. Wouldn't that be something if there indeed is another game 5 in the ALDS and Skubal is back to that very spot that he was last year, pitching game 5 in the ALDS? That made that game 5 last year against the Guardians, but probably one of the worst starts of his career. Anyway, I was wrong. I'm eating crow today. I didn't think they had it in them. And just because they have a 4-run inning in the 7th inning and batted around, still doesn't prove to me that this offense is back or has awakened one iota. So they're going up against the right-hander Luis Castillo tomorrow night. who's had a good September. He had a really good September. Prior to that, he wasn't pitching all that well. I don't think it's any coincidence that once he started pitching well, that's when things really kicked in for the Mariners. they have they have a good rotation. Hey, they're a good team. No, they didn't win 90 games for nothing. And the Mariners are a good team. I'm just thinking, wouldn't that be something if it would go 5, like it last year? You're seeing Skubal again with a chance to redeem himself in a deciding game 5 of the ALDS. So, as far as looking briefly at the other series, I would say, Yankees, Blue Jays. I'm going to pick the Blue Jays in that. And then over the National League, Dodgers, Phillies. I'm going with the Phillies to win that one. And Cubs and Brewers, I'll go with the Brewers to win that. And so that would mean in the NLCS, Phillies, Brewers, and in the American League ALCS, Blue Jays, Mariners. That's the way I see it. So, okay. We're done with baseball. I think we are now. And I'm happy for the fans too. At least they've got one more game at Comerica Park, and that would be on Tuesday. So, you know, I didn't think that there'd be another game at Comerica Park this year. Economic boom, if only for one day for the city of Detroit, it sure is. Bars and restaurants in the neighborhood of Comerica Park, absolutely. Good for them. Glad to see it. Sponsor obligations. Frank Beck Chevrolet on M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. 517-849-2886. The good folks there wanted me to remind you folks. October, and we're into October now. October is truck month at Frank Beck Chevrolet. Get in there and get a great deal on a truck, the new truck at Frank Beck Chevrolet. I would think if you're going to buy a truck, this month is the time to do it. The deals are that good right now at Frank Beck Chevrolet. You get in there and let them help you experience the Frank Beck Chevrolet difference. 517-849-2886 on M99 between on M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. Get in there and see them. Wait, please. Chevy Drives, Southern Michigan. Chevrolet together, let's drive. And of course, Frank Beck Chevrolet is indeed the #1 selling Chevrolet dealer in our immediate tri-state area. We're also brought to you in part by Barron Insurance in downtown Jonesville on the corner of M99 and US 12. 517-849-1000. Barrett Insurance, that's barrettins.com. Barrett Insurance, protecting your dreams. Okay. College football quickly. Michigan, heavy favorites. 17-point favorites over a bad Wisconsin team tomorrow at noon at the Big House on Fox. I don't think Michigan will have any problem covering that spread. Michigan State then at 4 o'clock out in Nebraska to play the Cornhuskers. They're heavy underdogs, anywhere from 12 to 13 points. I don't bet, but if I was betting, I think I would take Michigan State and those points. I think they'll keep it close. I don't think they'll win, but I think it'll be a one-score game. I really do. No. Red Wings getting ready to open the season on Thursday night at Little Caesars against Montreal. I think they've got one more preseason game left. They did win there. They did beat Toronto last night 2-1, I guess. Oh, they did. I don't look for I look for pretty much the same thing from the Red. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I think it'll be another year of futility. We'll talk about that once the season starts. Okay, but we're so inundated right now with baseball and football. I think we've got enough on our plate right now. I really do. Lions. Before we get to that, let's do this. if it weren't for the good folks at Quality PC in downtown Hillsdale, Tim Lindley and his staff, we wouldn't be doing this right now. 37 Walter Street, downtown Hillsdale, directly across the street from Fat Jack's Automotive. 517-610-5372. Anything at all. Any technical needs, sales service, tech services. The only place around here to go. Computers, new or used, flat screen TV, mounting, programming set up. Perhaps you're changing internet providers. You need that installed. Printers, anything at all. Please get in there and see them, folks, because if you have any technical needs or service, there's only one place to go. Quality PC, downtown Hillsdale, 37 Walford Street. 517-610-5372. But like I said, 37 Walter Street, downtown Hillsdale, directly across from Fat Jack's Auto. Get in there and see them. And when you do, make sure you tell them me and Miggy sent you, will you? Thank you very much. Lions, heavy favorites, 10.5, 11-point favorites against a bad Cincinnati team on Sunday. 425 game. Luckily, we don't have to put up with Kenny Albert or Jonathan Vilma. This is Kevin Kugler on the play-by-play with Daryl Johnston as his analyst. That's a good team. Should make for an enjoyable watch, I would think. Lions, as I said, are heavy favorites. That game last night, anybody who saw that, pretty good game. 49ers 26, Rams 23 in overtime from SoFi. I can't figure out the 49ers either. They lost at home last week to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then you go down to LA and beat the Rams. By the way, anyone watching would, I think, probably notice the majority of the fans down there were 49er fans. That's just the way it is in LA. Doesn't matter who the Rams are playing. The opposing fans outnumber their fans. It's just the way it is down there. Same way with the Chargers. Well, anyway, the Rams and the 49ers now, I believe, are both 2-2. Pardon me. 2-2? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. They're not, I think the Rams are 3-2 now. I think both teams are. I'm sorry. I have to go in and look at that. That's so much. I'm sorry. I didn't really come too prepared to do this today. So I apologize for that. But Lions, Dan Campbell in his press conference this morning, unbelievably, he said that Lee McNeill has a 50-50 chance of playing Sunday in Cincinnati. Well, that's incredible. He tore his ACL on December the 15th. And if he's playing now, I don't think for him to say that, it's one thing for him to say that. Another thing for McNeill to actually see action on Sunday. I think they'd like to see him. If we're up to McNeill, he'd say he's 100-0 that he's playing Sunday. Said he's getting tired of just sitting around watching. I think they want to get him another week of practice yet. I think you'll see him back next Sunday night in Kansas City. It's going to be a short week for the Chiefs, too, because they play in Jacksonville on Monday Night Football. They're slight favorites. Don't forget, too, Sunday morning at 9:30, we've got the Browns and the Vikings. Another game from Europe. Vikings are slight favorites. We'll do all our picks tomorrow morning on the Timeout Show with Andy and Jen from 9 to 10. It looks like the starting corners for the Lions on Sunday are going to be Lee McNeill and Terrion Arnold. The Bengals, pardon me, have a bad offensive line. If the Lions don't get at least 5 or 6 sacks, I'll be surprised. I really will. Anyway, it's a 4:25 game. I don't know what the 1 o'clock game is. What the game it was. I'm hoping it's the Broncos Eagles. That's to me, that's the most attractive 1 o'clock matchup on Sunday. I'm hoping that's the game we get at 1 o'clock. The others don't look too hot to me. Uh, anyway, is that about it? Is that all we have to say? Let me take one last check here. See if there's anything else I wanted to tell you. Nope. No, I think that was it. As I said, the Tigers tomorrow night. It's an 8:38 start on FS1, and then 8:05, I believe, on Sunday again on FS1. Tuesday and Wednesday, I don't have starting times for that yet. Okay. It's good to see that they've got baseball coming back to Comerica Park, and as I said, happy for the businesses in the downtown because Tuesday, regardless of what time the game starts, and again, if they play Wednesday, it's an economic boom for this downtown Detroit area, and I'm so glad to see that. You know, anyway, as I said, maybe we'll get to that. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow morning too with Andy and Jed. Christopher Illich says his goal was to win a World Series, but the guy with the keys to the car who's doing the driving isn't exactly, to me, illustrating what he says. But anyway, food for thought. We'll chew on that a little bit more maybe tomorrow. Okay, that's going to do it. Until Monday, don't forget the timeout show tomorrow morning locally here from 9 to 10 on WCSR 92.1 with Andy and Jet. Well, we had a lot to talk about, don't we? And so that's going to do it for me. And Frank, have yourselves a great weekend. Remember, please treat each other with respect. I can't thank you enough for watching and listening. And remember to tell your friends the next subscriber to this podcast will be the winner. And I'll tell them, congratulations, you won. And you're asking me, what did they win? How about my undying gratitude? Okay, I can't thank you enough for watching and listening. So, have yourselves a great weekend. Enjoy this. If you like 80 degrees, you've got 3 more days of that yet. And after that, it looks like that's it for the year until next spring. At least I'm hoping it is anyway. For me, we can't have a frost soon enough. Okay. I'll talk to you all again on Monday. Have yourselves a great weekend. And again, thanks so much for watching and listening. I'll simply say so long. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.